Hello, welcome back to Wise Noise. Returning for the second, I almost said season there, but I'm going with series, more traditional term. Second series of Wise Noise, the podcast about creative practice. I have to get away from these noisy cars in the background. I'm Pierce O'Halloran. I am a graphic designer running my own studio in Aboyne in Aberdeenshire, and I am out for a little walk, lunchtime walk. I've changed offices since the last podcast, so I'm over the other side of town, slightly more urban, but there is like a nice little path here that leads to like a lovely woodlands bit, so I'm trekking out to get some nice nature vibes at lunch and record the intro for this podcast. If you don't know what the podcast is about, then go back, check out the other episodes. We've had some amazing interviews with Chris Wilson, James Barnard, Frey McLeod, loads in that first run to catch up on if this is your first time listening to this. We have for the second series, I need to tell you that we have shop items, so a way of you paying for this audio would be nice, and going into wiselove.shop is the studio shop website, and I've got t-shirts and cups there with some Wise Noise artwork on it. So if you're listening to this and you go, well, Pierce has taken time out from actually feeding his children to edit and record and get all this together, I might as well buy a t-shirt off him, and hopefully keep me in some potato waffles for another week. Yeah, so wiselove.shop. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes is the moral of that tale. Jonny Mowat is my guest in this episode. Jonny is one of those, I start off by telling him how he's been slightly on my radar, but never actually conversed. And we both have a love of stand-up comedy that we kind of geek out about at the end. So if you last all the way to the end, it almost becomes its own sort of like different podcast about comedy, which is, a creative practice in itself, so relevant. But yeah, Jonny's super talented. It's one of those like it's been admiring from afar, but it's also slightly envious in terms of like, when you think, oh yeah, I've kind of got I've got plenty of styles. I've mastered a few of the crafts here, and then you look over and Jonny's just like knocking it out of the park in terms of like graphic design, illustration, filmmaking, writing, directing. Such a amazing creative mind, and just a generally from a funny guy, because even his LinkedIn posts, where that's meant to be all like super serious biz talk, and Jonny would just put up basically, I think he put up like Pictionary diagrams, illustrations that he made in his local pub quiz as part of his LinkedIn posts. I was getting people to guess the answers, which I just kind of commented, I don't think you're doing LinkedIn right. But yeah, I love that slightly irreverent take, as someone who doesn't take their career so seriously. And yeah, I'm gonna hurry up and shut up, because there's plenty in the podcast, and listening to Jonny is far more enriching than my wafflings. And yeah, here's episode 8 with Jonny Mowat. Hope you enjoy. wiselove.shop. Give me some money.
Nice and simple. Simplified.
Absolutely. So long as like the echo doesn't tell me to do bad things, then I think I'll be all right. Yeah. Is it? I can see Doggy in the background there. We have to introduce Doggy.
Yeah. Well, it was Maggie.
What?
She never does
Maggie.
that, really.
She's just
Maggie,
split.
the miniature schnauzer. Yeah, I don't know. I
Nice.
just think she knew I was gonna be on camera.
Yeah.
She's that kind of dad.
She's like, I didn't speak to my agent. You know, I'm not I didn't sign up
Who
for
should
this
forget?
public appearance.
Come on. Come on. Come say
Maggie.
hi. This way. Come on. Oh, no, fully went down the stairs. Damn it.
Okay. Well, I scared her off with my schizophrenia talk, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Are you at a standing desk? That's cool.
Yeah, I am. I thought I get
You gonna
very sluggish. So I
You're going to
thought,
stand for the whole recording?
yeah. Come on.
Okay.
You know, just energy. I'm
Yeah,
just
right, yeah.
I get way too sluggish if I just sit at my desk and
Yeah. So man, yeah.
that's
I've
the
got
idea. Here's hoping it comes across.
Yeah, I've got a standing desk myself where I can like alternate. It's like motorized, so I can go up or down. But like, I don't think there's for the benefit of the recording. I think I'll remain seated. Yeah, but it's good for the posture.
Not to show off.
Definitely. Oh yeah, it's
This
going up
this
and
kind of
down.
feels like the end of Greece
Yeah.
when it goes up.
The camera's just panning away. So like when we finish the recording, I'll just you just raise it up, and I'll be just like, you know,
Yeah.
I'll roll the credits then.
And I'll come down. I'll go down.
Yeah. So Jonny Mowat. I think like I remember if I give this is our first time properly chatting together. I think, although like
I
you've
think
been
so.
in my kind of orbit in terms of like spying you on the Scottish creative scene. And I think if I was trying to think back of when you first came to my attention, I think you got an internship at Freytag Anderson, and I thought that's a pretty sweet like gig for someone. And then and then you popped up, and I was like, oh, this guy must be good. And then you kind of proved that by getting a job at O Street, and I was like, oh my god, O Street! So he's got a gig at O Street. They're amazing. And then I thought like, oh yeah, he's cool. And then I look again, and it's like, oh, you've done illustrations for like a brewery in the USA, and I was like, oh, well, he's just gone gone from graphic design. He's an illustrator now, and he's going to target the brewing industry. Right, I could see the path he's on now. That's obviously it. And then I look over again, and it's like, oh no, he's actually gone off writing, directing short films. Award-winning short films now. And I'm like, okay, Johnny, like, calm down is my advice. Just calm down. So I don't know if my first question is, does Jonny Mowat know who the real Jonny Mowat is?
Mate, you can't be asking me that. It's
that I've gone heavy straight away.
I mean, listen, I've got a 6-month-old baby now.
Right. Okay.
So that's the latest. That's the latest thing that'll send you into an existential spiral.
Yeah.
But
does that help?
I think I have landed on. I think I've landed on the thing I'm into. But
right.
I think the reason, yeah, I think so. I mean, I need to just make it. You kind of just have to make a decision at some point.
You have to make a decision.
But I'm very. All my fingers in many pies are all. They can all like. I found a pie that can hold many fingers. Let's say.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You've kind of found. Well, in the filmmaking world, because you know I do have another pal who does like he basically does the graphic design for film sets as well. So like there's in
Okay.
that kind of film industry world, you can do there's a chance to use all those strings to your bow, you know. Um,
Yeah, that's kind of what it's been. Like the directing has been like I found best part of directing is just been getting to be involved in everything without actually having to like being relied on to execute it to as high as possible. So it's like the involvement I love.
uh-huh.
And then but also it's way better when someone better than you then takes it and finishes it. That's what I've found to be. So I don't know if I can go back from that. That's pretty addictive. But
So you
who
quite
knows? Maybe in
like
10 years I'll be a novelist or something.
yeah. Yeah, but well, it feels as though you've kind of like tried all the pies you wanted to try anyway. At least I think you've. I don't think there's a creative path that you're curious about. You seem to have kind of like right. I've gone off and like
But I think it's
got your hands dirty in a few things, you know.
yeah. I mean, if we're really to be fully, my theory behind it basically is I think I'm just breaking down the shell of, and then being like, I just want to be a little artist boy. I think
Hmm.
is what, I think that is kind of what it is. Because I think graphic design has a commercial application and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a job and it's technical. And that
Hmm.
ticked a bunch of my,
And
like,
it's
ticked a bunch of the boxes that made me think it was worthwhile, you know,
yeah, and it's more
or
vocationally
like even
focused.
slightly sensible. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like, I think I've just been brought up in a very sensible household. And
yeah.
I think and just been it's scary letting your kind of artsy silly side win over in the world of trying to make money.
Yeah.
But I do think everything I've gone more towards has just been like more and more expressive, and also feels more like art because it's the art that I consume the most. Like film and TV is what I consume the most. So it started to
Mm.
feel more like, oh, this is lining up. Like these things are lining up instead of just like that's my work life and that's my other life.
Mm. Yeah. It's
So
more in tune
that
with.
that I yeah.
But you mentioned there in terms of it was interesting when you're directing. You said you actually kind of like other people to kind of step in and take control. I mean, like some people are a bit more dictatorial and fascistic, but you kind of like that people kind of like coming in with your sort of vision and taking it to a better place, kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, you do kind of get to be, if you're nice to people, I think you get away with you're doing the same thing as a fascist person would be doing, but just you're, they don't really realize that you're lording, because you do have a lot of power as a director. So as long as you're not lording it over people, you can still get the same, have control over the end result. But I do like um, having control over the end result, but part of that control is getting someone who I know is better than me doing their job. And then it's just like, I guess one thing you don't have control over is how good you think it can be because you can only do so much yourself. That's I think that's a good place to like surpass your own expectations, which is
Yeah,
exciting
no,
compared to working on your own when you hate everything that you do, at least in the middle part of most projects.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm kind of envious of that in a weird way because there is a lot of times where like the whole show is on just my shoulders type of thing, and I kind of do at times miss being part of a team. And you know, especially in the film and production side, like I really got stuck into the podcast of Breaking Bad where it was basically like the whole sort of writers team and Vince Gilligan and all that. It was basically them chatting for an hour about each episode. So, you know, I would go off and watch the
Oh,
episode.
nice.
I'd watch the episode and then listen to the podcast, like, you know, because it was like full of spoilers, or whatever. So, but it was a nice kind of debrief after you watched it. And I had like what it made me give it a deeper appreciation of the amount of production and all these little things that I probably didn't notice the first time, and all these little details that are considered. But you do
one of the main things, like Vince Gilligan will say himself, like, if it was left in my hands, that the show would have probably ran for like 2 seasons tops or whatever like that. And the fact that he was just able to
Yeah,
kind of like trust other writers to kind of take it on, and even those like little jobs of editing and all that, you just realize that you kind of think like editing is like just this kind of chopping and pasting kind of job. It's but it's like it's super important in the process.
for sure. Yeah, it's I've been getting like, over the past five, probably like coming up to 8 years or so. I've been just gradually getting more interested in the film and TV stuff, mainly with the idea of like doing graphic design in that world. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized like the thing that I have enjoyed through all the kind of different visual stuff I've done is just like jokes and story. Like, and to do those, you don't really get to do much of either of those if you're going to be doing graphics in film, compared to if you're going to just try and make one yourself. Um, so I think that's been a nice thing to land on as well after all this faffing
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Getting back to that first kind of graphic design thing, and applying it in the film world. You were working on Midges, a sort of Scottish horror film recently.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was brought on as graphic designer for that. My friend Urte was doing the production design. She's Urte Ristakaiti, very
Right, okay.
talented production designer.
Okay,
Um,
great.
but it was a great opportunity because it was like small, kind of self-funded feature film. I mean, a small feature film still big, but it was like a lot of people in roles that were people were kind of getting to step up into those roles, and
Hmm.
I was one of them, so that was great. And it was a real nice energy because of that. Like everyone was like, you know, they're here to prove themselves, and nobody had massive egos or anything. It was great.
Yeah, brilliant when you get a good team like that. Yeah, because I saw. Well, I was a big fan of her work anyway, but I saw Annie Atkins at the INTL talks, and yeah, she was
Yeah,
fascinating. And she's obviously kind of got like, if you ask me what a dream gig would be, it would be like a graphic designer for Wes Anderson films, and she kind of has that dream job. But her talk was kind of fascinating in terms of like. Because especially if it's like a period piece or a set piece, like she was talking about like this kind of term retro. When you think of like 50s, 60s, 70s, you sort of have these misconstrued notions of what design was like back then, just because it's kind of, if you think of the 70s or what, it's like funky, big funky patterns. And then she just started showing like actual tin cans and products that were on display, and it's really kind of rough and chunky and just like a little bit misaligned.
yeah,
And and she said, like, one of the tragedies of like that line of work is the fact that like you're actually not meant to notice it. The less it jars with the
uh,
actual film. Like if it stands out or if it sticks out too much, then you're not doing your job. It actually has to just all blend into the actual scene. So the less you notice the work, the better.
I know. I
So
know it's an interesting one for the ego of it all,
mhm.
but the midges one was great because it's a horror comedy, and I actually got to like do some like prop gags, which was so up my street. Where it's like there's a reveal of a thing, and there's like a joke hidden in that thing, and then it's part of the scene, and it goes away. So it
Yeah.
was a lot of stupid brand names and stuff, which was a hoot.
Yeah, so you got involved in other things besides the actual design work then, in that kind of small production kind of thing.
Well, it was more like the jokes. The director was a big uh, design nerd as well, and me and him kind of worked on like spoof labels. So like the actual jokes were baked into the designs, and
Hmm.
I don't know why it's taken me so long to find a job where someone just lets me do graphic design like sarcastically. It's so fun. Like
Yeah, good stuff, man.
compared to having to do it seriously, it's like when you do when you're doing graphic design for like a brewery, and they're like, we need to stand out.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah,
stand
yeah.
out on the shelves. That's what everyone's saying. And then you do it for a film, and it's like it doesn't need to stand out. You're like, oh, this is the best. This is the best gig ever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. When you have to like please stakeholders with your design, it just absolutely takes all the fun out of it. You know? And
Yeah,
sarcasm is a very underused emotion in graphic design. It's all a
but
bit
so
too
many of
bit,
us are so
bit too earnest.
sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. When you meet graphic designers in
Yeah,
real life, we're like super sarcastic, but then like we have to be all earnest on in public on our work profiles, you
I
know.
know.
And but yeah,
What is it
man,
like
let's have.
the young jerks? Young jerks are a great design agency to follow if you like sarcastic designers.
Yeah,
It's
man.
just
Yeah, yeah,
throw that out.
absolutely. Why not have fun with it? Yeah, they're really good. Let's have a look at a bit of your film work. So you did a. What I'll do is because it's like a film essentially. What I'll do is I'll play it with audio just straight through, so that like for the audio only people they can just kind of listen to it. But I'll drop a link to the actual advert if people who are listening just via audio want to click and have a look at it. But I think the audio and the writing is really funny in and of itself without the visuals. But I'll just let it play because obviously for the YouTubers it'll be good to actually see the full video.
The 2026 World Cup. Usually you don't even notice it's on, but this time, Scotland's in it. For at least 11 days, your ear canals will be so clogged with football, no over-the-counter cotton bud will dislodge it. The fans are coming. They're all around you. But you need not worry. Football lager from Dooklt Brewery. Picture this. You're out on a date. When her app profile said her special interest was the Jags, he thought she must be well vaccinated.
No, the Jags, like Partick Thistle.
Yeah. Before things get prickly, let a pint of Dooklt do the job.
Famous for that red and yellow get-up. He used to wear navy blue. Did you know that?
It's Saturday morning, and the painter's finishing up downstairs. He's here on overtime after you smashed his edging. And you bet he's adding another zero to the bill. Smooth things over with a fruity factor, courtesy of Dooklt. Every slurp brings you closer to punditry.
That's 2 goalies we are needing.
Your friends don't need to know you haven't a clue about VAR. Just look how happy it makes them. Football lager from Dooklt Brewery. Just get it over with.
Whoa! I just, but yeah, man, that was, yeah, it was brilliant, man. Makes me laugh every time. So you directed this. How did you get this gig, and how was your approach to it?
So I've worked with Harry at Dooklt. I did a label for him a couple years ago, and he's just a very great supporter of like local artists. Every beer he does, he gets like a different artist to do an artwork. And I knew he had, he's got a good heart in the world of business. He's very art first and kind of, microbrewery artisanal approach. So I basically, when I graduated my master's in film, I had him at the top of my list. I was like, right, I'll do something with him and we'll make it work. Like basically make something beyond the budget that a company that size would be able to provide. And so, yeah, kind of one is kind of a bit for me, a bit for him. We just kind of got the production together after I sent him a pitch deck with the idea of, a lager that would make you be able to talk about football, which is something that I really wish existed. I'm a real hater of football in the past, and I'm trying to soften my hatred because my brother loves it, I love my brother.
Yeah.
My best friends
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
I love my best friends. I
Yeah.
I just can't stand when they talk about football. It's so boring. And the skateboarding, picking skateboarding in school means that you kind of have to pick a side and basically, but I'm growing up. I'm 32. I'm trying to get over this. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was an elixir that would let me get into it because I just can't do it. It was really fun because it was super quick. Like the writing was super quick. And I
Right,
don't
okay.
know, sometimes when a project is like we need to make, because basically the beer it had a time limit on it because of the World Cup. So
Mhm.
sometimes when something is kind of like unreasonably soon, you can really just pull some good stuff out, like and stuff that you kind of don't overthink. So I find that really satisfying because I still kind of have this feeling of like, oh wow, we actually pulled that off. Which other things that take a lot longer, you're kind of less forgiving. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, the
Yeah.
football thing was funny, especially to me because the brewery is so like crafty, and that kind of archetype of like a craft beer guy is kind
Yeah,
of the perfect
exactly.
person to
Yeah.
embody this kind of annoying part of myself. But
Yeah. It was great, man, and there's so many good touches. Like, we're seeing it just now. The cotton bud transitioning to the World Cup is just like that was such a great device. So did you? So do you actually have to put a little World Cup on a stick and wave it in front of the camera? Is that how that came about?
so we basically I storyboarded that, and I reached out to the DP Lewis. I sent him my storyboard, and I was like, just let me know if there's anything that's too mental in there. Kind of being like, I'll put all my mental ideas in there.
Yeah.
One of them being the wax cup, and then he just was like, "No, it looks good, man." And I was like, "I almost don't think you've read it. Like, there's some weird stuff in there."
Yeah.
But it turns
Oh,
out that he's just like amazingly up for trying mad stuff. So
yeah.
the earwax was a sculpture that I made out of a peanut butter with a toothpick and one of my mustache hairs, which is
Amazing.
disgusting.
I'm gonna have to scroll back and have a look while you're talking about that. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So that was
yeah.
like peanut butter and one of your hairs as the cotton bud with wax on it. And
Yes. And
when you
then the silhouette was
slow,
all that was such just done in Blender.
right? Okay, yeah, you just kind of got like just a 3D World Cup kind of
There,
thing, and
there are some sweet free models out there that we just got and made it look nice and obscured. But no, I was really
yeah,
happy with how it
exactly.
worked.
Yeah. That's a really lovely touch, and I'm also like a big fan of the peep show point of view kind of camera devices going on. I'd love to see that going on in a film.
Yeah, that was fun. Bryce, the main actor, was very he was very good at acting, just like pathetic. It was great.
Pathetic. He
Yeah,
does
like
a good pathetic.
the biggest problem we had on set was Lewis, the DP, kept shaking the camera because he was laughing. I was like, bro, you gotta stop.
Yeah, well, that's a good problem to have, I think. Yeah,
It was very reassuring.
yeah. What pub was that as well? I'm not familiar with. I've been like since I've been in Glasgow, but somewhere down Finniston, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
is it
Duke's Bar, my favorite
Duke's
pub in
Bar?
the world. I
Oh, nice man.
I do a pub quiz there, so I kind of was able to pull some favors.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Can I take over to the bar for an hour or so and film this?
yes, although we had to film we had to film the bit where everyone runs in and shouts in front of punters. That was super embarrassing because obviously I was acting in it as well,
Yeah.
and it was genuinely was like it felt like doing the talent show at school or something. It was awful. It was awful.
When the general public are gazing upon you, it's like, yeah, super awkward, man.
And like day drinkers on like a Thursday. A tough crowd.
Tough crowd. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's brilliant. And if you want to go, there's so
Thanks.
many other great videos of that you've done. And JonnyMowat.co.uk is your Internet HQ with all your stuff on there. Yeah, we've only just picked out one to chat about, but there's plenty more on there. Right, let's go and do the bingo wheel of wisdom, Johnny.
Please, this sounds great.
Yeah, I had to go out. This is a new bingo wheel for this series. The last bingo wheel actually got damaged. I've moved studio since, and it was broken. And I also, when I was cleaning up the old studio, you could just hear ping, 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 all these bingo balls going up into the vacuum cleaner. And I was like, that's where they've gone. So I completely destroyed the set. I mean, I'll just show that it's working and it's got balls on there, because one of the other issues is that audio is, well, that's actually a lot quieter than the old one. But there was complaints that the last time I was doing the bingo wheel live, that the audio was like, oh Jesus, that's too much. The old one,
it's quite shrill.
Yeah, the old one had lights on it anyway. Which this is a little bit more low key. It felt a bit too bling, to be honest, for this podcast. For me,
I feel like bingo balls in a vacuum cleaner is like quite a cool visual. Almost like one of those like catch money machines where they're like flying around.
I'm going to see a new advert for a brewery, and it's going to be bingo based, and you're going to have this transition to like vacuum cleaner, and I'll be like, he stole my idea. Always working, always picking up inspiration. So if you don't know the bingo wheel of wisdom, I pull out random number. I got 90 questions here, various questions, design related, not design related, sometimes a little bit too personal, some of the questions. But yeah, we'll just go. I mean, there's no start, middle, or end. It just basically, once I feel that the segment is running out of gas, essentially, then we just park it. Right. Okay, see how we go. So first number out of the bingo wheel of wisdom is 44, dream client? Question mark.
I mean, my first thought was Adult Swim. I mean, they're just the kings of free flowing animation. But in terms, like here, I'd probably or in the world of TV, The Lonely Island have a production company, and everything they make is amazing.
Lonely Island.
Like one day in my life, Andy Samberg's comedy trio.
Oh yeah, cool, yeah. That's a little bit more in reach.
Everything they touch is beautiful. Well, you say that, but that is working with them would be amazing.
Class. Okay, so next number out, unlucky for some, is 13. What tracks are on your playlist of the year?
Well, let me pull that up.
What tunes are you digging in 2026?
Well, I mean, they don't have to be from this year, do they?
Well, yeah. Well, anything you're digging right now, basically.
Right now, okay, interesting. I mean, I became a vinyl scumbag. Mm-hmm. Christmas, I got our first record player, and I've been trying to physicalize everything. So John Prine self-titled album has been getting a lot of play.
Oh yeah, he's like there was a guy back in my hometown, and he was obsessed with John Prine. He was like he was learning to play guitar, and he was like it motivated him. He loved him so much, it would motivated him to actually learn the guitar. So he was just like, and he just was like, John Prine. John Prine's the king. He's the king. He just like absolutely loved him. Is it like he's a bit like bluesy country stuff?
It's like good country, like
good country.
It's like a couple country notches away from Bob Dylan, I would say. Like towards country, away from Bob Dylan. That's my sweet spot.
Yeah, he doesn't put He doesn't put the cunt in country.
No, well, unless you're talking Glasgow.
He's a good country.
Yes, yes.
23. If Melania Trump was a font, what font would she be?
I mean, nothing behind the eyes. It's got to be Calibri.
Yeah, I was thinking like curls, which like to the general public looks like a pretty font, but it's actually evil and awful inside. Anyway, that's the end of that one. 35.
Good thought exercise.
Good thought exercise, yeah. I've got a few more of those. Like I've got different celebrities and to name them as fonts, but yeah, some more controversial than others. 35. How many steps did you do today?
Probably like we're talking sub 1,000.
Yeah, you're a baby dad to his newborn, so exercise kind of goes out the window. It's all about like
well, all my exercise comes at night.
yeah, pacing the floor. You do about 5,000 steps a night. Yeah, you would be tempted underneath because I've seen you could get these like little treadmills for under a standing desk, and I was like, if I buy that I am officially the most middle-aged designer out there. If I'm buying like a little treadmill under a walking desk.
The bad thing is, I was like, that sounds like a great idea. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, if you want, I just got a royal blue chore jacket in the mail. That's middle-aged designer right there.
That's middle-aged
so
designer.
Don't worry about it.
MAD. Getting mad with it. Middle-aged designer with it. Yeah. I'm scribbling that down because there's a whole like fashion brand that I can make out of MAD. 3, light mode or dark mode?
Light mode for life.
Oh, we're going to have a bit of conflict because I'm dark mode as fuck, man. I don't know if it's my aging eyes, but yeah, I just can't be arsed with light mode.
I mean, I've only had one migraine at my desk, and that was years ago, so far so good.
Yeah, I'm getting new glasses and I invested in the £30 for the blue light filter. I'm like, I actually need to protect my eyes from how much screen abuse that they're getting. And this is weird, right? Because the next number I pulled out is 30, which was the question of what's your daily average screen time. I'm like, so I've had this on last series and just didn't want to answer it out of pure shame.
I mean, I never track it. I never look. But, I mean, it's got to be like at least 10 hours because I'm doing 8 hours at work and I love screens. So I'm either gaming, watching TV, or on my phone. So it's got to be at least 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I kind of have a couple more.
I mean, my top tip is don't look. Just don't look at your screen time. That's my tip.
Just don't look at your screen time. Ignorance is bliss in that respect.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have a couple more balls in us. 78, your best holiday destination.
Oaxaca in Mexico.
Whoa. Is it, so you've actually been there? I meant to say, not just a dream holiday destination. Oaxaca. No.
When we lived it,
Oaxaca.
It was much closer when we lived in Canada for a couple of years. So we took advantage.
Amazing.
It was unbelievable.
Whereabouts is Oaxaca in Mexico?
But my top to go would be Tokyo. It is like Mexico City. It's like just south of Mexico City, like just over this. I think just over the skinny bit.
Right. Okay.
Not great at geography, but it's a fascinating place because loads of fauna and animals like travel through that skinny bit over the thousands of millions of years ago. So it's got loads of diverse food and animals, and it's dope.
So it's a pretty unique kind of geological place. environment.
Which is not what I put on the top of my list for a holiday location, but it did make it.
Did you actually? Is it one of those where you were actually sort of touring Mexico and then came across that place turned out to be like the most amazing place, or did you actually want to go because you knew about it?
So I'd heard about it because I watch way too much food YouTube, and there's a lot of like Oaxaca has some of the best food in the world. So we did a week there, and then we did a week in Cancun, and all inclusive that I hated so much, and I do not know why we did that.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
I felt like
I've done the
I just don't
Cancun all
understand. Like the first week was amazing, second was shy.
Yeah, I've done the Cancun all inclusive. Like my cousin, they stay in Canada, and she was getting married, so I went out, and yeah, you do realize that like the same way that Spain here, like Mexico is the sort of Spain, you know, that's Canadians, and that's their sort of like Tenerife, let's say, and Cancun is just becomes like that, or that all inclusive. Because I was like, oh, Mexico, this should be amazing, but you're sort of walled in, and you're sort of like just.
I mean, it would have been good for a wedding if I saw other people, but it was just me and Beth, and basically all I'm going to say, I was rolling the dice on street food every day in Oaxaca, no problems. First day in Cancun at the hotel, diarrhea for 9 days. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's move on. On that note, he's mentioned the D word. Let's move on. Okay, final question. To-do list. Are you a paper or app guy for your to-do list?
App. Reminders app. Nothing crazy. Maybe I should get paper, but then I just will forget. I walk around and speak into Siri being like, Siri, remind me to do this tomorrow. That's the only way I'd get stuff done.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a mixture. I have all those kind of like project management, like reminders and notifications and all that, but I still come in like at day and I have a little pad of to-do list, and I'll have to actually write most of the actual focus stuff about, because I just won't. I think it's like another distraction. If I have like to-dos on my phone, then I'm going to pick it up, and then I'll be an hour and a half later down an Instagram thing, and I'll be like, shite. So if I keep it on paper, it's like less distraction. So I'm a bit of a mix myself.
I have thought about getting a whiteboard for that, but interesting. Maybe I'll think about that.
Yeah, I need to get a whiteboard in here. I've kind of got that sort of background area as sort of sticking loads of crap up plus calendars. But yeah, whiteboard. That's the next. I'm going to get a stepping machine for under my standing desk and a whiteboard, and then that's properly. And I'm going to get a chore jacket just like you, and I'm going to fucking boss the middle-aged designer.
That's some diary of a CEO stuff. Yeah,
totally.
You'll be so successful.
Yeah, exactly. So the next bit is the final bit where we just have the heavy dessert menu. I sent you over the menu for the. I'm not even going to find it. It's basically it's the same subjects as last year. Because I thought, Johnny, I was like, do you know what? It'll be a really good, proper LinkedIn post if I post out industry topics, and I'll get people to comment on it. And then once I get about 100 comments, everybody's going to see my profile. Everybody's going to be interested. And I got like one comment, and so I didn't change it. So essentially, it's the same, exact same. Bait. Not enough rage bait. I should have just like talked about like I'm pro AI or something like that, and I probably would have like. It would have really
just openly
kicked off.
Shit on someone you know's work.
Yeah, totally. But it's the same subjects as last year. I'll just read them out for the benefit of anybody who's coming cold or fresh. So, how to price your work, the AI elephant in the room, the red flags of a nightmare client, specialist versus generalist, self-promotion without the ick, avoiding burnout, your design and how to sell it, the things they never tell you about in design courses. So, Johnny, what are you selecting from the dessert menu?
I will have to do number 4, specialist versus generalist.
Okay, cool. Do you have a rant on this, so, because I think we were touching on it at the start in terms of like how many different creative lanes you've kind of swerved around and your problems with niching. So I think we've already kind of like had a peek into that you're pro generalist.
Yes, I am pro generalist. Basically, I think generalism is becoming more and more of a thing, and I feel vindicated in that way. But I also, the more I go into it, the more jealous I get of people who got away with being specialists. So I do think the question of specialist versus generalist is a little bit. It's quite circumstantial, and it's almost like it's kind of feels like it's overwrought as a question. So that's also part of my rant, is that we talk about it too much.
That my menu is shit is basically your.
No, listen. Your menu reflects the design culture at large. You've done a great job, Pierce.
Thanks.
But I do
Even
think
though I haven't updated it for anyway. But sorry, go on.
I was so in my head about being a generalist for so long, and like it was such a big thing at like design festivals and talks and stuff, and then like I just realized that people you kind of have to be a generalist until you're not. You know, you could only follow what makes you a living and also that you enjoy. So I feel like there's not one without the other. You know what I mean? But I'm a generalist just now because I'm a director of films, and that's like involved in lots of different areas. But then to some people, that I'm a director of films that might mean that they just like are very focused on the acting side of things and they come from an acting background and then specified with directing actors. So it's kind of like it just depends. Like I could become more and more like that as I go on, and then I might be like specialism for life, baby. But I don't know. I don't. That's kind of far in the distance for me, and I feel like most people who say they were specialists have just gotten away with it by that point, and that's who we hear from at these design talks and all these kind of things. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
so I love.
Yeah, I'm generous as well in terms of like we had Chris Wilson was on one of my first guests on the podcast, and he kind of said like I'm a specialist in being a generalist, and I think that gets to the nub of what you're saying in terms of it being circumstantial. You know, I'm a specialist because not many people have had all these things and how to kind of traverse these kind of different disciplines in the way that you do. And I get what I think that's what you're trying to say is like, you know, because you're so generalist and because you've kind of mastered so many different skills, that when it comes to actually like having that vision of how things will kind of relate to each other across disciplines, then that's actually quite specialist. You become so generalist that you're quite specialist in your approach.
Well, it's also like it comes back around to the like big picture, like meaning of life, creative platitude of like you are you. There's only one you. That whole thing. You know, you're a cocktail of all these different things. You have to believe that that's worth something, or you might as well give up now. But it's interesting doing like if I was to then get gigs from like say that ad we looked at, if I was to get gigs doing 90-second ads for breweries that are really fun, weird, and have one gross joke in each of them, and I would happily take that job if anyone's listening. Then I would. Basically, I'd probably become a specialist of that particular thing, but the reality is that only happens for a very select few people. And a lot of it is just like right place, right time. So I think generalism is amazing until you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, and I do know what you mean in terms of like kind of getting that break within a particular industry. and it's almost that specialism is sort of set for you, you know, as in like you kind of do one good job early on, or your success is often sort of related to like just happening to meet somebody who becomes early on that becomes very successful or something, and you sort of piggyback. You write that like I'm gonna be the guy who did all the Pixies albums. Oh, I'm having a brain fail. Oliver. Vaughan Oliver, yeah. I totally blanked there. But like, you know, I used to love like the Pixies album artwork, and I went to a design talk of his, and now he was like he was kind of the last generation, was like pre sort of Photoshop, so everything, and you can see it in his artwork, it's all slightly collaged and overlaid, and text is cut out and everything, like it's proper, like, you know, letter set, and, you know, shooting it all in one kind of shot on camera, and photography is a big part of his work, you know, creative photography, you'd use that, and But so amazing body of work, and an amazing kind of like you know. But what happened was the fact that he had just graduated. At the same time, he was like down the pub, and like his mate was like, "Oh, I'm setting up a record company called 4AD," which obviously 4AD went on then to actually sign the Pixies, sign Cocteau Twins, you know. So, you know, Vaughan Oliver could have, like, you know, in another universe, Vaughan Oliver is probably like doing, you know, he's off doing logos for like various companies, and he might be doing some sort of photography career for a bit, and he might have done, you know, so he had all these kind of talents. But because he like met that one person, and they kind of like, right, he was just fed all these amazing briefs by all these like fantastic like alternative artists from the 80s, that he was able to build up this body of work and time to create. So like, you know, so they're having that success earlier on. But yeah, there's it seems as though he's quite specialist, or like but you know, he was given that, he was very lucky early on to give that sort of like body of work where he could professionally and make a living off boiling all that down into one sort of visual language.
I think like, I mean, I think that career is also like, if that is what you want, and you really like, if you have found something that you're like, this is what I want to do, but people aren't paying for it yet, then I feel like you gotta follow that, because that means like, if you still want to do it and no one's paying for it, then you really must be into that. And that's like, they're probably the only true specialists of people who are like, are doing it despite the current kind of return, I guess. And then when people like that break through and start to make, I love that sort of thing. So I'm not saying it's like, you know, it can't exist, but in terms of surviving and just getting by in the world of work and having a living, I think, yeah, generalism's great for doing that, and also it can be really fun. Like I've been started enjoying graphic design way more now that I've started doing films, because it's,
as you said there, it's
having
like,
two things to do is just frees you up. Like you kind of can enjoy each one individually more.
I'm into that as well. Like I couldn't like I've discussed this a few times on the podcast before, but in terms of marketing and trying to sell yourself, like obviously it is good advice to tell any creative to specialize and, you know, hone in on this one thing you're really good at, because obviously when you go to sell that to people, like, so if you're a book cover designer, there's this guy, Irish guy, Jack Smith, and I'm kind of obsessed with his book covers. I read the book recently, Prophet Song by Paul Lynch, which won a Booker Prize. That's one of his books. But you kind of go onto his website, and it is just like a wall of these amazing book covers. So if he approaches like a publisher or any sort of publishing house, you know, it's bam, it's like, wow, let's get this guy on the phone. Whereas if I sort of like, because I'd love to do a book cover design, And if I was to send over my kind of like hodgepodge of branding illustration, and if I was just to say, we're like, okay, thanks for getting in touch, Pierce, but we'll we'll maybe, and I know I could do like a brilliant job of cover design, but like there's nothing to prove that like I could for this specialist field that I could do that. So I do think the challenge is that like generalism, I love it, and it's probably like suits my brain, my sort of like completely scatty brain more to be a generalist and have that fun day to day, because I do think I would get bored if it was like, right, I'm just a logo, that's all I do is logos, but then I'd be like, I just really want to have fun with a big editorial layout. I want to do a big messy poster. I want to do like a bit of animation. I want to, all these other parts of me would just be like kind of like underfed in that respect.
For sure. I think it's like definitely there's two, as with everything, there's two worlds. There's reality, which is my life, my current career anyway. I mean, I think it's a particularly scattered part of my career with this kind of like gradual change, but it's like a total patchwork of all these different things. But then going forward, I am gonna try and make my website more and more directing gigs than illustration and animation stuff. That's just what my goal is just to do more of that. But it's just that way of like, there's a layer of bullshit you have to put on everything in business and commerce and all that. And it just really riles me up when nobody talks about how the specialist versus generalist thing is quite full of that.
But well, it sounds as though you found your specialism, like, as in I was kind of on your website, and
ironically.
I know it's like, it's an amazing kind of like it's an amazing broad spectrum of like, creative stuff, but I do think that in terms of like film industry, I do think anybody, I think if you come on there, as you said, people who are looking to get like a really kind of funny advert done, or like a really cool bit of graphic design for your kind of film studio or film set, I think that within the film industry, I think you've kind of cornered that, or like, you're speaking to those kind of people, in your own set, and you're happy with that.
No, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I think I've like definitely a light has gone off in the last few years, and it's going to be exciting to see where exactly it settles. It's all kind of, things are kind of floating down, and they're still to figure out where everything's landing. But so far, it's been very fun.
Great, man. Yeah, well, it's been absolutely smashing to speak to you finally, Johnny. I think we met briefly at INTL, but we haven't actually spoken, so that was great. But yeah, next time I'm sure we'll meet IRL sometime soon.
For sure, we'll have to do an in-person meeting of the Chris Thorburn fan club.
Oh, yeah. Chris Thorburn, stand-up comedian. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of his. Like, we used to do Chunks Night, which is, I don't know if it's still happening. I think the guy Eamon who was running it,
still going.
Still going, yeah. Oh man, that was like the best fun, because I did stand-up comedy, and it's a bit like there's a parallel with that serious design work where you kind of have to go out and, with stand-up, you have to kind of go out and impress like a Friday night audience, and you'll like live or die by like, and you kind of, and almost like that way of like corporate graphic design, like the more kind of like observational, and the more kind of like, oh, what about who here's on Facebook, or just if you do safe kind of material, the more likely that those weekend crowds are going to laugh. But the more alternative and kind of crazy or like out there you go, the more you're going to die on your chuff. So like when Chunks came along, so it was like, honestly, I just kind of needed it. I was so disillusioned with doing. I stopped doing stand-up comedy because of like the kind of pressure to kind of go out, and especially at the weekends, to make people laugh that kind of way. Where I found myself just actually writing stuff that I wasn't even a fan of, but I just wanted people to laugh. And then Chunks came along. So Chunks was like set up a night where like you just have like a minute or so just to go up and do anything. You have to do anything you wanted, but it couldn't be stand up. So it could be a sketch, it could be a character act, it could be a routine, and it was like this total like cabaret, this really weird cabaret night, and there was loads of on-running jokes as well. And some people would come back and do the same characters. You know, I just loved it, man. I so loved it. And Chris would just every time he got up, he just smashed it. He just smashed it, man. Yeah,
I've been to one, and I've been meaning to go again. But I absolutely love that as well. Oh, I think that's why I was originally. I feel like you were on my radar because I knew you were a designer who had done stand up, and because I have done stand up in different spatterings over the years, and I just find it fascinating that when people have the similar, you know, those two Venn diagrams that rarely meet, and they cross over. Because it's different skill sets for sure.
Yeah, no, it's like I've always, I said goodbye about 5 minutes ago. We're still here, but like it's fine. But I think like, you know, when I was in school, it was like writing, creative writing was what I always thought I might be a journalist or something, and that's something where I could take get a vocational job in terms of writing. But I ended up kind of like falling down on the arty vocational side of graphic design, but like writing and like, you know, that love of language. And I do think like that's actually like a really good important part of bringing that into like sort of design, where you can play around with, especially when it comes to typography and stuff, or like you can actually have like visual jokes going on in your work, you know, so you can have that sort of that kind of comedy element. So yeah, stand up is a different discipline, man. It's but yeah, it's quite a. How did you get on with your stand up gigs?
So bad. It's like the worst year of my life with one amazing Red Raw set. That's how I would describe it. Just put myself, I don't know. I've been back to it. It was 2019. I did a full year of it, and I tried, and then thank goodness for the pandemic. But then I
forced you
to came
stop.
Back to it. Yeah, it's like, oh no, I can't go out and get heckled at a 3 audience member gig. Oh no. It was. I've been back to it. Like I went back to it a bit last year before I had my baby, and I enjoyed it more then. But still no greater success. But I just think being older, I was a bit less damaged by it all. So I still love dipping my toe back in it and meeting people who do it, because some of the most creatively open folk I've met.
No, absolutely. I think. I do. That is the one thing I miss about not living in Glasgow, is those kind of random back of a pub kind of comedy gigs that you could get, you know. And they're the best, man. But yeah, so you had a good Red Raw, did you say? It was a good Red Raw set. Red Raw.
Sorry, I did a Red Raw set at the Stand, which is like it's such a good open mic that you can't get a spot. It's so overbooked. I got to do it once, and it was like every joke just went the way that I thought that it should go, instead of all the other open mics I've done. And it was that high that you're just like, oh, this is amazing. I'm now going to do this for another 6 months because of this one gig.
It's so mad because the Red Raw crowd are really good. It's a bit, and as I was saying there, because it's a bit of a student night, because it's a cheap night to get into. It's like £2 at the door. It's a little bit of a student night. It's on a Tuesday as well. So, in converse to what I was saying there about the weekend crowds, where they're expecting sort of Kevin Bridges at a weekend crowd. But the actual, I found that Red Raw, the little bit more oddball and alternative you are, you get a better reception at Red Raw. And
they are much more forgiving.
Much more forgiving. And I do think there's a sort of, they set the tone really nicely in terms of like like everybody's just trying here, guys. Okay, so we even get like people kind of forcing some sympathy laughs when you're actually dying on your chuff in terms of like, because everybody's well aware that this is like really stressful. But it was I got one last thing, and it kind of gives the example of like comedy to me. There's like Paul Curry. Have you ever heard of Paul Curry? No.
But yeah, I've seen him at the Fringe.
Yeah.
Long
He's
hair.
fantastic. Yeah, long hair. Yeah. And he's like, he comes from a clowning background, so like a lot of his stuff is just like kind of these weird sketches, and like a lot of it's like he did a whole show where he didn't actually talk during the show, like it was all kind of verbal and like action stuff. But back in the day, there was like this forum that we were on, all the Scottish comedians, and it blew, like the Tuesday night, it like blew up. It was like, people were like, oh, Paul Curry absolutely destroyed Red Raw. He was like the headliner act, and I'd never heard of him. And everybody there, like all the comics that were there going like, that was the best Red Raw headline set I've ever seen. He was amazing. So, and I was like, oh, he was there all week. Like, so he's playing Red Raw the Tuesday, and he was back on the Wednesday, the Thursday, the Friday. So I actually went to see him, like, I was like, oh, I got to go down and see this guy. So I went to see him on the Friday, and he was opening up. And it was totally like, when I went in there, it was all sort of like ladies, sort of drinking wine with high heels at the back kind of thing. And I was like, this is more of the weekend crowd. Like, you know, he was coming out to this, and he bombed, man. He bombed. And I was like, you could see people kind of like, you know, the host, Susan Calman, she came out, she was doing like the, you know, really good host and stuff, but it was a lot of like, oh, you know that time when you were down the swimming baths and stuff, and everybody's laughing, and then he comes out doing these like, you know, these comedy sketches, and everybody's just like, it was me and some other comedy buddies were down the back, and we were the only ones laughing, and you actually had people turning around in their seat going like, what are you laughing at? And the guy's like, I think he's brilliant, he's a genius, but it just kind of like portrayed that sort of difference between sort of like that alternative student-y kind of Red Raw night, but you go into your Friday and Saturday, and it's like, come on, where's the observational comedy?
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's like we could talk for hours. We could talk.
Yeah, we just need to meet up with at the next chunks. I'll make a date to come down to the next chunks. We'll make a date.
Legit. Let me know if you do.
Legit. Cool, man. I'm gonna split this up and do that last bit. I'm gonna do as like a new comedy review podcast. But yeah,
one episode.
Anyway, man, one episode. Yeah. Cheers, man. Great to speak to you.
No, thanks for having me. Good chatting.
Jonny Mowat, how good was he? Yeah, just great chat. I need to just meet up with him on more social level, because I feel as though we were just starting to geek out about comedy, and there was plenty more juice in that melon. Yeah, my thanks to Johnny. You can check him out, all his good stuff at johnnymowat.co.uk. At jmowatstuff is the handle on the Insta. But yeah, well worth a follow. Absolutely excellent output. And yeah, I'm just coming on to the end because I think I forgot to say at the top of the introduction to do the liking and subscribing and following and leaving a review. I am always interested. I've never received any proper feedback. Everybody's been, oh yeah, it's great. And like, which is fine. I'm totally like, you know, scratch my ego away all day long, no bother. But I am interested if there's certain things that you think could be done better, if there's certain things from your end as a listener, because I'm just too close. My nose is too close to the grindstone here. That I need some fresh perspective would be very helpful. And yeah, don't forget to check out the sweet new Wise Noise merch at wiselove.shop. And yeah, do all the lovely algorithmic things. Give me a review. Anything you want. Yeah, abusive. I mean, constructive criticism or abusive, I don't care. I'm basically desperate for attention these days, to be brutally honest. But yeah, see you episode 9. I will get that out whenever I get time in between all the projects that are brimming over the top of my desk. Thanks for your lovely lobe so far. God bless.